everybody, it's Mrs. Inman, and I'm here today to do something a little bit different. I read Full of Beans, that book about beans during the Great Depression in Key West, and I'm hoping that you heard it. And if not, you still can listen to it. It's on YouTube under Grace Hill Huskies or on the Lowell Facebook. And that was set in the Depression. So I was thinking, how much fun would it be to do a cooking demonstration of something that they made in the Great Depression. And when I was a kid, you know, in elementary school, I used to make this every time we were snowed in. I'd be like, oh, I'd like to have some chocolate. But, you know, we couldn't get out of the house. And so I would make what I called a wacky chocolate cake. And I looked it up on Pinterest, and it said it was also called the Depression cake because it's made without eggs or butter or milk, things that were sometimes hard to get during the Great Depression, just like sometimes they're hard to get now. I know I've been to the grocery store and there were no eggs. So what can you do? Well, listen, you can follow along, and I will tell you how to make the wacky chocolate cake. So here I am ready to demonstrate, and I've already given you all the ingredients. So we're going to start with our pan. Now this is just going to make a small cake. We're not making a big lavish cake. This is a cake that you and your family can eat probably just for dinner. I'm using a smaller pan. You can use up to 9 by 13. It'll be thinner, but I like mine to be a little thick. So first of all, you only want to put the dry ingredients in. So I have some of them already measured out, so it'll be easy for me to show you. So we start with the flour, and I just put that in my pan, and I like to do my sugar, and then it says baking soda, 1 teaspoon. Now I'm not always the best at measuring. Sometimes I just like to put a little of this and put a little of that in it, but I'm going to measure my baking soda out for sure. So I don't want it to get way too big. So sort of smooth it out. That looks good to me. And then we have cocoa. It says 3 tablespoons. So I like mine very chocolatey. So I'm probably not going to level it off, but it's going to be close. So there's 1, and you can see it over here, what it's looking like. 2, and 3. So I have all of those dry ingredients, and the last thing is salt. I have already measured out. So I have all my dry ingredients. I'm going to double check, make sure. And I'm going to take, if you have a whisk, it's awesome. I'll take this whisk and just stir it and just keep on. I can hold it up here if you want to see. And I want it to look like all one color. Like I don't want to have white spots and dark spots. If I have like big knots or anything like that in it, lumps, you know, I want to sort of smush those out. This is a fun cake to make. Like I said, I call it the wacky chocolate cake. I guess during the Depression, they called it the Depression cake sometimes. But this is one that I've made for many years. I haven't made it for a while, but it's really fun because you just make it in the same pan that you're going to cook. You don't need to mess up bowls. You don't need the electric mixer. Make sure you're around those edges. When you do it, make sure you're around the edges because you want it really stirred up. You want it to all be the same color and consistency. I have a couple of lumps in mine. So I'm going to keep stirring until I get to, it's going to look all the same color. Look, it all looks the same. It doesn't have white spots or dark spots, it's just all the same. This is the fun part. In the middle, you're gonna make a well. Now what is that? That means you're gonna make it higher on the edges and low in the middle. So I'm going to push this mixture over to the sides just like that. Oops, so it fell. I'm going to have to push it back. But you can see it's higher on the edges, and then it is really low in the middle. I can actually probably show you that. Let me look. Like this. I'll put my camera back. I'm having to do this by myself, so it makes it a little bit harder, but that's okay. So now that I've got this in a well, and I'll fix it again, then go ahead and add your liquids. Now, how we want to do this is we don't want to add the vinegar first. We're going to add the oil. Jamie pouring the oil in. And then it's just a little bit of vinegar. You really can't even see it in there, but when you see me pour it, just a little bit of vinegar. And then the water goes in last. Can't forget about the vanilla. So the water's the last of the big things. Then the vanilla, you have to have a teaspoon of that. So we'll put that in. That gives us a nice flavor. Now I look over and I make sure, since I put everything out first, I just make sure that I've used everything. And I know I have, so I know it's all in there. And I'm going to stir it up. Stir this up with my whisk. This does not take any eggs. It does not take any milk. I have to stir it like this. It's hard to hold it up and stir it. But I can tell you that these are all things that if you bake, or if your family bakes quite a bit, then you'll have these things in your kitchen. So that's what makes it really handy, because you don't have to have a cake mix. And like I said, the eggs have been hard to find sometimes lately, and you don't have to worry about that. And no butter, no milk. And just think how the people in the Great Depression had to scamper because they had to think of substitutions, didn't they? They thought, well, how can I make a cake without those things? Because those are things you usually think about. Once you get this stirred up, it doesn't take very long with your whisk. It just has to be to where you don't see any dry. Mine's already done, so I'm going to show you that. And then I'm going to bake that, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So this cake took probably about 30 minutes, and I think it's because I used a smaller pan. It's a little thicker, but it may not be the very prettiest cake I ever made, but I bet it's going to taste really good. I sprinkled some powdered sugar on top. You don't even need to ice this cake. It's super moist and tasty, and you can eat it warm. Oh, it's just really good that way. So I hope you'll try it. Talk to you later. If you're on Facebook, I'm going to put the recipe down in the comments.